morning, dear students. Today we are going to start our fifth semester topic with the cell and the components. We know that cells are mainly two types: prokaryotic cell and eukaryotic cell. These are all very basic things that you have learned so much about this in your lower classes. Anyway, this section is only a memory recalling section. So the first cell, it evolved about 3.5 billion years ago. And what you know about this prokaryotic and eukaryotic cell basically? Prokaryotic cells are usually single celled. Mainly there are bacteria. Usually. But in the case of eukaryote, it is multicellular. And the prokaryotic cell, its organization level of organization is very low, but in the case of eukaryote is higher level of organization. And prokaryotes are having less diversity, but eukaryotes have more diversity. So we can go and learn about the prokaryotic cell first. The living prokaryotes is included in the kingdom Monera. We know that 5 kingdoms are there. Which are they? Protista, Fungi, Plantae, Animalia, and Monera. So this living prokaryotes, usually the bacteria, are included in the kingdom Monera. Size of the bacteria. It is very small and invisible, about zero point 0.5 to 2 micrometer in diameter. And we are going to see shapes of the bacteria. Four basic types are there: spherical, rod shaped, and then wavy forms. First we are going to see one by one. Cocci means it's a spherical shaped bacteria. Then diplococci are there. That means that two are seen jointly. That means in pairs they are called diplo. Diplo means die. Then tetracocci means they occur in group of four. Then streptococci is there. That means it is in the form of a string. And Sarcinae means it also in the form of four, but that four aggregate to form a cubical like arrangement, cube-like arrangement. So then bacilli. Bacilli means rod-shaped bacteria, and diplobacilli means this rod-shaped, when it occurs in pairs, it's called a diplobacilli. If it is in the form of a chain, it is called streptobacilli. Then examples for bacillus bacteria are Bacillus tuberculosis, then Clostridium tetani. These are all rod-shaped bacteria. Then spirillase are there, spirilla. They are called wavy-shaped bacteria. Example, Treponema pallidum. Treponema pallidum. Then vibrous bacteria also there. They are comma-shaped. Vibrio cholerae is an example for this one. You have to note all the examples for each type of bacteria. So next we are going to learn about the structure of bacteria. Structure of bacteria. First we are going to learn about the internal structures. Internal structures. Among the internal structure, the first point is regarding the nucleoid. Nucleoid. What is nucleoid? How many of you know what is nucleoid? I think most of the students know what is nucleoid. Nucleoid means it's a naked genetic material that is seen in the prokaryotes, because it doesn't have any outer membrane or like a nuclear membrane. It is a naked DNA genetic material, single stranded. It can exist in circular form, not single stranded, double stranded also there. And one of it end is attached with the plasma membrane at any one point. Then it is naked. Naked means it is not associated with any type of protein. So it is called a naked chromosomes. In the case of eukaryotes, we know that the genetic material is associated with so many different types of proteins. Everything are there. So that's the other different. Then regarding the coding, this genetic material is sufficient to code around 3,000 different proteins. Next internal structure is plasmid. What is plasmid? Plasmid means it's such picture is given here. Plasmid means extra additional chromosomal DNA that's seen inside the prokaryote. It is a double stranded circular DNA. What is the number? What's the number? Around 1000 plasmid is possible to see in each cell, and it can enter in a cell and also can leave from a cell through pili, small villi like structures are there. Then size of this plasma is about 1 kilobyte to 200 kilobyte. And what are the peculiarities of this plasmid? We have the power of autonomous replication. That means it has the capability to replicate by its own, but it is using the assistance of the machinery available in the cytosol of the prokaryote. Okay. Then again, another peculiarity or significance is that it is used as an efficient tool in biotechnology. Because biotechnology means we are generating novel genes having some additional features. So for that, as this plasmid has the ability to move from one cell to another, we can modify it. So it is an efficient tool in biotechnology. And also this plasmid have some unique restriction sites. I will show you that. Plasmids, suppose this is plasmid as unique restriction site. Unique restriction site means only a particular type of enzyme can only cleave it in this position. So we can very specifically place or fix the required gene in the plasmid. That is an advantage. Okay. So it has so many unique restriction site specific for unique restriction enzyme. So we can use it as vectors. Vectors means that what is a medium to transfer or translocate the gene of interest. Such example is applications. Such an applications example is the development of insulin gene using this plasmid. Insulin gene is introduced into this plasmid, and as the bacteria replicate, as it moves to how many bacteria, that much copy of insulin gene is possible to generate. So application. And also another property also this plasmid have, that is inside this plasmid gene has so many genes that have resistance to antibiotics. So many genes are present. So such type of plasmids, if it is present in a bacteria, and into that plasmid, if we incorporated a gene of interest, how can we recognize in which one we incorporate that gene? By adding or applying a particular antibiotic to that medium, then all the other will die, and only the bacteria having that resistant gene and also carrying that gene of interest will stay alive, and we can easily understand that it is the plasmid bearing bacteria interest. Okay. Next, what is episome? Episome, what is episome? It can exist both as extra chromosomal DNA as well as it can incorporate to the main genetic material. That is episome. And after incorporating, it's a property, that's what I am going to tell you. After incorporating into the genome or the nucleoid, it cannot replicate independently. And this also involved in transfer of gene. Next, ribosomes. Ribosome. What is ribosome? We know that ribosomes assist in development in the synthesis of protein through translation, and it has a larger subunit is there and also smaller subunit is there. The ribosome is of 70s type. Largest subunit is 50s, and the smaller subunit is 30s. And in each subunit present RNA and as well as some proteins are present in both subunits. So polyribosomes means when in an mRNA ribosome attached one after another to form a string-like arrangement, then it is called polyribosome. Poly means many ribosome. Okay, then what's the function? Function I already told you that gene translation. Translation means from mRNA translate the encoded message to form a corresponding protein. Then what is storage granule? Storage granule means it is stored reserve food like glycogen, lipids, polyphosphate, etc. Then polyphosphate granules, they are called the volutin. Polyphosphate granules are called the volutin. Volutin, I will give you the spelling. Volutin. Polyphosphate granules are called the volutin. Then what is endosphore? Endosphore means a resistance stage. Phore means it gives resistance. It's a resistant stage of the prokaryotic cell. In this stage, it can withstand unfavorable condition. How it is forming? From the part of the protoplasmic material. Using that protoplasmic material, it form a cyst around its body. In that way, it protects itself against adverse or unfavorable conditions. Then what is the difference between protoplasm and cytoplasm? What is the difference? Protoplasm means all the cell components plus that internal fluid um, plus nucleus. But cytoplasm means it doesn't form or doesn't include this nucleus. Excluding nucleus, what left? The whole thing is called cytoplasm. Okay, that is about the endosome. Next, external structures. External structure, in that first one is capsule. The name itself means that it is something give protection. So it is seen outside. I will show you just an sketch of that. Which are the layers? Outside there is a capsule is found. Then inside, inner to that another layer, it is called the outer membrane, and inner to that another layer is present, it is called cell wall, and below that present the plasma membrane. This is the arrangement. All these layers we are going to learn now. First we are learning about the capsule. What is capsule? It's a layer of polysaccharide. It is a layer of polysaccharide, and it will protect the bacterial cell from phagocytosis when it is enters the body of any host. This capsule protect the bacterial cell from phagocytosis by WBC. Okay. Next we are moving to the outer membrane. Next layer. What is outer membrane? What it means? It is a lipid bilayer. Lipid bilayer. We know that two layer will be there. Bilayer means two layers. It's a lipid composed of lipid. And in that lipid bilayer, proteins are seen embedded. Okay. Then lipoproteins and lipopolysaccharide. What are that terms? Lipoprotein itself means, from the name itself we can understand that it is a union of lipid plus protein. It's also seen. It's a part of this outer membrane. Then lipopolysaccharides. Lipopolysaccharides also seen as part of outer membrane. That means lipid is there and carbohydrate also is a part of this lipopolysaccharides. What is the role of this lipopolysaccharides? It helps to defend against the host defense. This lipopolysaccharides that seen associated with the outer membrane helps the bacteria to defend the host defensive mechanisms. Next is cell wall. Cell wall. What is cell wall? A cell wall is a semi-rigid. It is not that much rigid. What is its purpose? That I will tell you later. It is non-cellulosic wall. It is seen outside to the plasma membrane. And what's the function? It maintains shape to that prokaryotic cell, and also it prevent the bursting due to endocytosis. Endocytosis means the entry of fluid inside the cell that cause building up of pressure inside the cell, and it may lead to the bursting out. That bursting out is prevented by this cell wall. And what's the composition that we are going to next slide? Next is composition. Composition is composed of peptidoglycan. Peptidoglycan means it's composed of protein and polysaccharides. And here the peptidoglycan is murine. Murine, M-U-R-E-I-N. And now I am going to tell you something about the peptidoglycan of bacteria. In the case of bacteria, that peptidoglycan is of a polymer consists of N acetyl glucosamine and N acetyl muramic acid. These two forms alternate in the form of a ring that constitute the peptidoglycan of bacteria, and also along this chain some side branches also there, side chains are there, and that side chain is composed of tetrapeptide. That means the four amino acids. Four amino acids joined by peptide. Such a type of side branches also seen along with each this polymer. Okay, that's about the bacterial peptidoglycan, and this form a layered like arrangement. Okay, next is about and also one more point is that mycoplasma. Mycoplasma means those form that doesn't have this cell wall. They are called mycoplasma. Bacteria without cell wall is called mycoplasma. Next, we are going to understand about the difference between gram-positive and gram-negative bacteria. First, I am going to tell you about gram-positive bacteria. Gram-positive. Positive means it has something. That is the difference. So, if we apply a dye, dye means the crystal violet dye. The gram-positive bacteria retain that color. So, those bacteria that retain the color of the dye is called gram-positive. And then coming to the deep level of difference, considering the cell wall, relating with the cell wall, the gram-positive bacteria and negative bacteria are different. So, we are going to understand what the difference. The case of gram-positive bacteria is multi-layered. The cell wall is multi-layered. Here in this picture we can understand that this is that of gram positive, this is of gram negative. It is multi layered wall, and it is composed of almost 40 layers. We can see it saying like that, and also additionally a teichoic acid molecule, we can see that teichoic acid, this one teichoic acid molecule, it runs across this layers. As it run across, it linked all the membrane lipids. As it is linked with the lipid, it is called lipoteichoic acid. So that is the difference. Here, as we look in the picture of gram negative, it is very thin wall. As we look to gram positive, it is very thick wall. So another difference, gram negative will not retain the color of the dye. So that's about the cell wall. Okay, next. Next, we are going to understand about the plasma membrane. What is plasma membrane? It is the living layer, moving layer. It is composed of lipid bilayer plus protein. Because we all learned about the fluid mosaic model. That model is possible to apply to the plasma membrane of bacteria also. We know that a lipid bilayer is there, and among the lipid bilayer protein molecules are seen. That is the plasma membrane. What's the significance of the plasma membrane? It is selectively permeable. So selectively it permit the inflow and outflow of material, and it will not permit the entry of larger molecules, and it helps in respiration and photosynthesis. Next, one more, so another significance is that it synthesizes the cell wall components. Cell wall components also form from the plasma membrane. That is another significant. And then it helps in DNA replication, and also it helps in the secretion of proteins from the plasma membrane. Proteins are secreting. Then it gives anchoring place for flagella, and also this is a site where signals are receiving. It's a significance. Up to that significance, then we are going to internal membrane systems. Internal membranous organelles are totally absent. And when compared with the eukaryote, we know there are so many internal membranous structures like mitochondria, ribosomes, Golgi body. Like that, there is no such membranous organelles, internal organelles. Instead, they have mesosome. What is mesosome? Mesosomes are certain infoldings of the cell membrane. They form as vesicles, in the form of vesicles. That is mesosome. And that what is the role of that mesosome? It helps in cell division. Because cell membrane, as it form these infoldings, mesosome, it can extend be together and can facilitate cell division. That is the role. Then we are going to understand periplasmic space. Periplasmic space is a big space is found in gram-negative bacteria. Gram-positive bacteria also have this periplasmic space, but it's very small, size-wise small. I will show you that the periplasmic space is found between the outer membrane. Outer membrane, we know that outer membrane and the plasma membrane. So that's about the periplasmic space. Then in the case of gram-positive bacteria also the periplasmic space is there, but it is very narrow. Next, pili and fimbriae. Pili and fimbriae. What is that? Pili and fimbriae are certain hollow tube-like structures, hollow tube-like projections seen on the body surface of the bacteria. There are two types, attachment pili and sex pili are there. Attachment pili, it is numerous, but sex pili are there, it is only one. It is the conjugation pili, helps in the transfer of genetic material from one bacteria to another. Then flagella. Flagella we can see here. What is flagella? It is for motility, and it's also they are the long appendages of the bacterial cell. It can rotate with the help of the motor located just under the cytoplasmic membrane. But under the cytoplasmic membrane, there is a motor is present. With the help of that, the flagella can rotate. And the building block, what form the flagella? It is composed of flagellin. Okay, flagellin. And again, the which are the parts of the flagella? Flagella composed of mainly three parts: filament, basal body, hook. Filament is this one. Basal body is seen anchored, embedded in the cell, and hook is a part that connect this flagella filament to the basal body. Okay, with this we finish today's section and all about the prokaryotic cell. Thank you.